Ladies and gentlemen, everything you seek in another is not out there in the distance. It is already within you, clothed in thought, wrapped in the invisible garment of feeling. There is no need to reach outward with desperate hands, for all contact begins in the unseen. The mind is the stage upon which every encounter is rehearsed before it is ever lived in the outer world. If you would have them drawn to you, if you would see them compelled to think of you, you must first meet them in the secret place of your imagination. All contact begins in the unseen. The mind is the true meeting place. Before any word is spoken, before any glance is exchanged, before any step is taken in the visible world, there is an exchange that occurs in the invisible. The mind moves first, and the outer world follows. Every connection, whether brief or lasting, begins as a vibration, a picture, a thought clothed in feeling. You may think that you encounter people by chance, that circumstances throw you together, but nothing is ever random. The magnetic thread of thought draws them to you, and you to them, long before the body plays its part. This is the realm where there is no distance, no obstacle, no time delay. Here, in the inner place, you can stand in front of anyone, no matter where they are, and the encounter will be as real as if they stood inches from you. In the outer world, you may wait for an opportunity to speak, for a moment to connect, for them to notice you. In the inner world, you do not wait. You go directly to the scene you desire. You imagine the meeting, the way their eyes settle on you, the feeling of recognition that flows between you. You allow the energy of that moment to move through you until you can feel its reality in your chest, in your breathing, in your skin. This is not fantasy or daydreaming. This is the work of creation. In this inner meeting place, there is no need to ask or plead. You simply stand in the knowing that the connection is already yours. Every time you bring them into your inner awareness, you are planting the seed of contact. Every time you return to that place in imagination and give it life with emotion, you are watering that seed. In the unseen, this meeting is already happening. You are speaking without words, touching without hands, communicating without sound. And as you persist in this unseen meeting, the outer world begins to arrange itself to match it. A chance encounter becomes inevitable. A message appears as if from nowhere. Their thoughts drift toward you because you have already met them in the place that thoughts are born. This is why the unseen is the truest meeting ground. Out there, in the visible, you are limited by space, by time, by circumstance. In here, in the mind, you are limitless. You are not separated by miles or walls or situations. You are present with them now, and they with you. When you choose to meet them here deliberately, you are shaping the direction of the outer encounter. Without a single outward action, you are guiding the flow of events toward the picture you have already accepted within. The outer meeting, when it comes, will feel natural to them. They may not understand why they feel drawn to you, why you stay in their mind, why they feel as though they already know you. But you will know. You will know that you have been here before, that the meeting was prepared in the secret place of your mind. And because you have stood in that inner space so many times, the outer moment will feel familiar, inevitable, and perfectly timed. This is the power of meeting in the unseen, where all true contact begins, and where you are never at a disadvantage, for here you hold the scene exactly as you desire it to be. Assume their attention and affection as already yours. This is not about convincing yourself with forced words, nor is it about hoping for a future where they might one day see you. It is about stepping fully into the state where it is already done. You are not waiting for them to notice you. In your inner world, they already do. You are not hoping for them to care. In your imagination, they already care deeply. You stand in the place where the outcome is complete, where their gaze rests naturally on you, where their thoughts flow to you without effort, where you are the one they think of first and last. You do not wonder if this will happen, because in your mind it has already happened. The moment you assume this inner certainty, your energy shifts. You carry yourself differently, you speak differently, you think differently. There is no need to grasp, no need to reach outward for proof. Your inner reality becomes so solid that the outer must conform to it. You walk in the world knowing that they are already thinking of you, already drawn to you, already feeling that pull toward you. You do not check for signs like a fisherman pulling up the net too early. You trust that the catch is already there because you have already seen it in the unseen. This is the silent language of assumption. It is felt by others without a word being spoken. People pick up on the unshakable confidence of someone who knows they are wanted. There is no desperation in your eyes, no questioning in your tone, no nervousness in your steps. Instead, there is the quiet authority of one who knows they are chosen. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. You have aligned your inner vision with the outcome you desire. And because the unseen is the blueprint of the seen, the outer world begins to mirror it. You do not concern yourself with the outer story of how they will realize their feelings. That is not your work. Your work is to live in the state where it is already true. If you are in a room with them, you sense their attention as yours without hesitation. If you are apart from them, you feel their thoughts reaching for you. It is as natural as breathing. You do not have to remind yourself of it every second, because once the assumption takes root, it becomes your natural state of being. The more you live in this assumption, the more the invisible cord between you strengthens. They begin to feel an inexplicable draw toward you. They notice you in ways they never did before. They think of you at odd times and wonder why. This is not magic in the sense of trickery. It is the law of consciousness at work. You have accepted within what you desire without, and by that acceptance, you have made it so. When doubt tries to creep in, you return to the state of completion. You remember that the assumption is the cause, and the outer is only the effect. You refuse to be moved by temporary appearances, because you know that reality is shaped from the inside out. You treat your assumption as a fact already established, and the outer world bends to that fact. They cannot help but give you their attention, because in the unseen, you have already claimed it as yours. And what is claimed in the unseen must be expressed in the seen, for there is no separation between the two. Hold the vivid inner vision until it feels more real than absence. In the beginning, the mind may wander, and the outer world may try to convince you of its lack. But your task is to return again and again to the scene you choose. This scene must be more than a fleeting picture. It must be alive with detail, rich with feeling, saturated with the certainty that it is happening now. If you desire their affection, see it, hear it, feel it in the invisible. Let your mind create the way their eyes linger on you, the warmth in their voice, the subtle ways they move closer. Do not treat it as something to come, but as something unfolding in this very moment within you. The outer may show you distance, silence, or indifference, but these are only shadows of past thoughts. You are now building a new reality, and this new reality is not concerned with the absence of what you want. The more you visit this inner vision, the more it will take on the weight of truth. At first, it may feel like an effort, as if you are creating something from nothing, but with persistence, the scene becomes natural. It no longer feels like a story you tell yourself. It becomes a memory you return to, one that is so familiar it needs no effort to recall. The reason you hold to this vision is because the unseen is the mold for the seen. Every repeated inner image impresses itself on the deeper mind, and the deeper mind does not distinguish between what is imagined and what is physically experienced. It accepts the scene you present as fact, and it sets in motion the chain of events to match it. This is why the vividness matters. A dull, lifeless image will not stir the deeper self into movement, but one infused with emotion and sensory detail will. When you feel the warmth of their touch in your imagination, when you hear the softness in their tone, when you see the light in their eyes as if they stand before you, the subconscious receives it as real. It is not enough to simply think of what you want. You must dwell in it until the inner world outweighs the outer in your sense of reality. When absence no longer troubles you, when the lack of outer proof no longer disturbs your peace, you have crossed into the state where manifestation is inevitable. This is the moment when the desire ceases to feel like something outside of you and begins to feel like an inseparable part of you. You are no longer a person hoping for their attention. You are a person who already has it. The mind can only hold one dominant reality at a time. If the absence feels more real to you than the vision, the absence will persist. But if the vision becomes your dominant inner reality, the absence must dissolve. This is the silent turning point, the place where you no longer measure your desire by appearances, but by the conviction you carry inside. The vision is no longer an exercise, it is your truth. You will know you have reached this point when thinking of them no longer produces longing, but a quiet sense of possession. The outer world may not yet display the scene you have held within, but it will feel inevitable to you, as if it could not be otherwise. And as you continue to hold this inner vision with life and feeling, the outer must bend to match it, for it has no choice but to reflect the reality you have accepted as your own. Your inner shift sends a silent current into their consciousness. The moment you change the way you see yourself in relation to them, the moment you adopt the feeling of already being in possession of their attention and affection, something invisible is set in motion. This shift is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself with fireworks or trumpets. Yet it is more powerful than any outward action you could take. The unseen operates with a certainty that requires no force. You do not need to speak to them, convince them, or explain anything, for the silent current reaches them without physical contact. Every human mind is connected through the deeper field of consciousness. Thoughts are not contained within the skull. They move outward, impressing themselves upon the shared medium that binds us all. When you change your inner state, you alter the signal you are sending. If you are rooted in lack and longing, that signal reaches them as a feeling of uncertainty or distance. If you are grounded in the knowing that you are desired, chosen, and important to them, that certainty moves through the current and stirs something within their awareness. They may not be able to explain why they think of you more often, why your name comes to mind, why they feel a pull in your direction. But the cause is the state you have assumed within. The silent current carries not only thoughts, but feelings, and feelings are the true language of the deeper mind. Words can be misunderstood, but feeling is direct. When you inhabit the feeling of already being wanted, already being cherished, that vibration is unmistakable. They will feel it without knowing why. It may rise in them as a sudden memory, an unshakable curiosity, or a desire to reach out. The way they interpret it is not your concern. Your concern is only to remain in the state that generates that current. This is why inner work is more effective than outward pursuit. Outward action without inner alignment often feels like effort and struggle, because you are trying to create a result from a state that does not match it. Inner alignment, on the other hand, turns action into an effortless extension of your state. Sometimes no deliberate action at all is needed. The current moves them toward you by arranging circumstances, shifting moods, and opening paths you could never have planned. The strength of the current is determined by the stability of your inner shift. If you assume the desired state for a few moments and then return to doubt and longing, the signal becomes inconsistent. But when you live in the assumption, when you return to it again and again, until it becomes your natural state, the current grows steady and strong. It becomes a constant presence, gently influencing their thoughts and emotions without them ever realizing its origin. It is not manipulation, because you are not forcing them against their will. You are awakening in them the recognition of something that already exists in potential. The deeper mind responds to the reality you accept, and because consciousness is shared, They cannot help but feel the reflection of what you hold. The more unwavering you are in this state, the more natural it becomes for them to respond in harmony with it. You may notice small signs at first, unexpected encounters, their name appearing in conversations, small messages, moments where they seem unusually attentive. These are indications that the current is flowing, that your inner shift has reached them. If you remain steady, these ripples grow into waves, and those waves carry them closer, guided by the silent but undeniable pull of the state you have claimed within. Do not contaminate the seed with fear or impatience. Once you have planted the image of your desire in the fertile soil of imagination, your only task is to nurture it with consistent faith and emotional certainty. Fear is like a poison to the seed, and impatience is like digging it up to see if it has begun to sprout. The seed will grow if left undisturbed, but if you keep questioning whether it is working, you weaken its roots before it has a chance to take hold. The unseen requires trust. It requires that you rest in the knowing that the moment you accepted your vision as real, the process of manifestation began. Fear enters when you look to the outer world for confirmation too soon. You glance around for signs, and when they are not immediately visible, the mind begins to tell you stories of doubt. But the outer world is always a reflection of a previous state, and it takes time for the new state to become visible. If you judge the process by what you see now, you will inevitably disrupt the growth that is happening beneath the surface. Patience is not passive. It is the active choice to remain loyal to your vision regardless of appearances. Impatience is born from a belief that nothing is happening unless you can see it. This belief keeps you in a state of lack, and the state of lack only reproduces itself. To remain in the end, you must feel the reality of your desire so completely that the absence of outer proof does not trouble you. You must live as though it is already accomplished, so much so that the question of when no longer matters. The seed does not need your constant interference. It needs your steady assurance that it is safe to grow. Every time you revisit the fear that it may not happen, you are introducing conflicting signals into the deeper mind. The subconscious cannot bring forth a clear result when it is given both the image of success and the image of failure. It will bring you a mixture of both, which appears as inconsistency in the outer world. This is why purity of focus is essential. Once you have accepted the image of being loved, chosen, and wanted, do not return to imagining rejection or indifference. The moment you do, you are planting weeds among your flowers. You cannot serve both the vision and the doubt. You must choose one and let the other wither from neglect. When doubt arises, do not fight it directly, for fighting only gives it attention. Instead, turn gently but firmly back to the vision. See it again, feel it again, live in it again. Allow the feeling of it to grow stronger than the voice of fear. Over time, the fear loses its grip because it is no longer being fed with your attention. The growth of the seed is a silent process. You do not see the roots forming beneath the soil, but they are there, drawing nourishment, establishing stability. In the same way, you may not see immediate outer movement, but the shift has already taken place within. The silent work is being done, and the moment the roots are strong enough, the first shoots will break the surface. If you had doubted and dug it up before then, you would have never seen the bloom. Fear is always looking for evidence that it is right. Faith is content to rest without evidence, knowing that the unseen governs the seen. When you refuse to contaminate the seed with anxious energy or restless doubt, you give it the environment it needs to flourish. Your stillness becomes the space in which the desire grows, and in that stillness, you hold the power to see it through to its perfect expression. Deliberate inner imagery shapes the outer response without force. The images you hold in the privacy of your mind are not idle pictures, they are blueprints for reality. Every scene you create within, when charged with feeling and accepted as true, begins to shape the field of experience around you. There is no need to push, persuade, or manipulate in the physical world, for the outer is only an echo of the inner. By choosing your inner images carefully, you choose the form the outer must take. This is not the work of struggle, but of selection. You decide what to imagine, and in doing so, you decide what will be reflected back to you. When you deliberately form an image of someone responding to you with affection, attention, or admiration, you are setting in motion a cause that must produce its corresponding effect. The law of consciousness does not operate by chance. It is exact. What you accept within will eventually appear without. You can test this in the smallest ways. Imagine a simple encounter, feel its reality, and watch as the world reorganizes itself to match your vision. In the same way, you can apply this to deeper desires, holding the image of the exact relationship or connection you wish to experience until it becomes the most natural thing in your mind. The beauty of deliberate inner imagery is that it bypasses resistance. In the outer world, people may have defenses. They may refuse to hear your words. They may misunderstand your intentions. But in the inner world, all such resistance falls away. There, you meet them in the pure essence of the state you desire. You see them smiling at you, speaking to you warmly, leaning toward you as though drawn by an invisible thread. You hear the words you want to hear. You feel the closeness you wish to feel, and you let that scene play until it imprints itself upon the deeper self. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is physically experienced and what is vividly imagined. To it, both are equally real. By presenting it with a deliberate image over and over, you instruct it to accept that image as fact. And once it is accepted as fact, the subconscious works to arrange the outer conditions to match it. This is why force is unnecessary. Force belongs to the realm of the physical, where effort is required to move objects. In the realm of the unseen, movement is effortless because it is born from belief and assumption. Many weaken their results by allowing random, unwanted images to take root in their minds. They rehearse scenes of being ignored, rejected, or overlooked, and then wonder why the outer reflects these experiences. To practice deliberate imagery is to take responsibility for the mental pictures you entertain. It means you stop letting the mind wander into scenarios you do not wish to live, and instead guide it toward those that fulfill you. You choose what you will plant in the garden of your mind, knowing that whatever grows there will one day appear in the visible world. As you persist in the image, the emotional tone becomes as important as the picture itself. A lifeless image will not impress the deeper mind, but one saturated with feeling will. It is not enough to see them looking at you. You must feel what it would be like if they were. You must let the warmth of their presence settle into your being. Let the sound of their voice become familiar. Let the joy of the connection take root until it feels like home. When you master this inner work, you find that the outer response begins to change without any outward struggle. People react to you differently, not because you have forced them to, but because your inner image has shifted the energy you radiate. That energy reaches them, shapes their perception, and influences their behavior in ways they themselves cannot explain. The change begins invisibly, but its results become visible, undeniable, and in perfect alignment with the picture you have held within.